Hey viewers, welcome to Tigers Talk. I'm your host, Christopher Grant.
And I'm your co-host, Samantha Avila.
I hope that you all are excited for Tigers Talk because we have lots of surprises for you. You'll be hearing amazing stories from multiple Auburn Tigers, and you can be a part of the show just by following us on Instagram at AU Tigers Talk Show and on Twitter at AU Tigers Talk so that you can be a part of our weekly discussions. We have been planning this show for the last month or two, and it's finally here, Samantha. Can you believe it?
I can't, Christopher. I think I am just so tired of all the ups and downs and crazy moments of 2020 that finally being able to sit here with you and just talk and have our talk show is a really good victory.
2 months ago in 2020, what do you expect for 2021?
I have no idea, but I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on it. That's for sure.
Yeah, we did that to 2020, and look where we're at.
Exactly.
Okay, so do not move a muscle. Tigers Talk will be right back.
Welcome back to the premiere of Tigers Talk. We're going to go ahead and get started with our community countdown where we're going to share with you our top 5 picks for things happening in and around Auburn's campus. In our number 5 spot this week, we have the 2020 Fall Commencement Ceremonies. The 2020 Fall Commencement Ceremonies are officially a go. They're going to be on December 12th from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Christopher, what do you think?
You know, with all the uncertainty that happened this year with graduations and all that, I'm just happy for these graduates who know they have a ceremony to go to this year.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think everyone who graduated in 2020 is going to have such a unique story to tell, and at least this way they get a graduation. And honestly, in the stadium, I think that's really cool. So
I agree. Can't agree more. In the number 4 spot, Auburn Bee Lab begins their annual honey sale. This year, they have harvested about 1,500 pounds of honey. The Auburn Bee Lab originally does research and instruction, but they also sell honey in order to fund their research.
in the number 3 spot, we have the 2020 Hay Day. Hay Day was held this year virtually and in person. For those who wanted to attend virtual, they were able to go to 2 Zoom sessions, one in the morning, which was Auburn Trivia, and then one in the afternoon, which was Bingo. And of course, they had their on-person element as well, as people were able to go on the campus green from 11 a.m. until 1 to enjoy food, games, and take photos.
In the number 2 spot, Halloween trick-or-treating in Auburn will be October 30th this year instead of October 31st. This is because on October 31st, there will be a home football game for Auburn. So the Auburn officials decided that in order to protect the kids from COVID-19, they would have kept the Halloween trick-or-treating on the 30th. Samantha, have you ever heard of that? You know what I also heard? I heard they're also having drive-in trick-or-treating. Have you ever done that before?
I've never done that ever, but I have been trick-or-treating, so that's always really fun. What about you?
I've never gone trick-or-treating before.
Ever?
Never.
Oh, Christopher, stop it. You have to go. We have to change that.
All right, so if I go trick-or-treating, what would you dress me up as?
I don't know. I get like pilot airline vibes from you, you know? Maybe a very smart pilot Delta or something.
You know, I agree with you, especially the fact that I'm afraid of heights. So, you know, that goes.
Well, I didn't know that, Christopher, so I'm actually going to change and I'll pick a costume where you're more on the ground.
Okay, perfect.
And in our number 1 spot, we have September 25th being named as Threadgill Day. Threadgill Day is named in honor of Kunte Threadgill, a 13-year-old boy who saved 4 of his younger siblings in a house fire that occurred on September 26th. This honor was given to him at the last Auburn City Council meeting, where he was also presented with the Distinguished Citizens Award.
That is so amazing, you know. These are the stories that I live for, you know. I also watched the city council meeting, and I heard that after he saved 2 of his siblings, he learned that 2 others were in the house, and he went into the house while it was ablaze and saved his other 2 siblings. That is stunning bravery.
Yeah, no, it's definitely inspiring, Christopher. And again, like we've been talking about, this crazy year of so many negatives and so many sad and kind of terrible moments, I think these stories are the ones that really lift you up and keep you going.
Absolutely. So, go to our social media pages and let us know what you think about our top 5 picks for this week. Don't go anywhere. Tigers Talk will be right back.
Welcome back to Tigers Talk. For our Chit Chat segment this week, Christopher sat down with the president of Alpha Gamma Delta, Colin Davis, for an interview. Take a look.
Hey guys, I'm here with Colin Davis, the president of Alpha Gamma Delta on campus. I am so excited for this interview because I believe that this interview is long overdue. Hey, Colin, how are you today?
Hey, Christopher, you're right. It really is long overdue, and I'm doing well this morning. How about you?
I'm good. I'm just excited to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because like, when did I tell you about this interview?
I swear it was like in early September, maybe
Yes.
mid-September. Yes, we've been looking forward to this for a while.
Okay. You're a senior and you graduate this December
I actually graduate in the spring.
in the spring. Okay.
Yes, yes.
As a junior or even before that, you started imagine your final year and what it will be like. Did you imagine your final year to be looking like this?
Probably when I was a junior, this was probably definitely what position-wise, this is definitely what I dreamed of. However, I never saw the challenges that 2020 would just bring all of us. Never saw that coming. And so kind of taking on your senior year without a playbook has been really interesting. But yeah.
I agree. Like none of us could have like imagined 2020 being like this. We've always been like,
Yeah.
2020 is my year. 2020
Yeah.
vision. Well,
Yes.
we're really seeing what's happening in 2020, and we're just hoping for the best moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to ask you though, thinking back through your 4 years, what
Mhm.
is one of your favorite memories at Auburn?
Yes. So some of my favorite memories, I'm thinking. Definitely last year at the Iron Bowl, storming the field. I'd probably say both Iron Bowls home were just some memories I will never forget. Also, when we made it to the Final Four, I was in Auburn. I was on the sorority hall watching it with a bunch of friends, and we were all so into the game. And we sprinted to our cars, ran to Tumors, and that was just something. Probably that whole week of just celebrating our success that had never been done before was just something that was so inspiring, but also I will never forget just that entire experience. I actually went to the game, and despite the outcome, it was still great to cheer on our Tigers.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I wish I was there last year. I
Yeah.
watched it on TV and it looked like an experience that I wanted to have. I was
Yeah.
just thinking about all getting back home after that game, but my friends did it, so I know I could have done it. I'm not
Yep.
missing another game after that. I said that
Yeah,
to
I
myself.
know. I know.
All right, so as a student athlete myself, I can tell you that before I turn up on campus, I'm already enrolled in a team, a group of people, or a system of people that I will be associating myself with, right?
Right.
As a non-student athlete, I know it's totally different. I can just imagine how difficult it might be. Why and
Right.
how did you choose the Alpha Gamma Delta?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of what you're saying, how like being a student athlete, you get kind of just plugged in with more people. I think it's the same for potential new members. Rather, I'll speak solely from Panhellenic because that's what council we fall under. And that to me is just one of the biggest blessings was back in 2017 when I went through recruitment. And it's still the same, even though it looks different this year, time wise, it's still the same. It's the first couple weeks before school starts. And so, even before the first day of school, even though you may not know all the girls in your sorority or in your pledge class, you kind of already have a connection, a mutual connection to people. Like for me specifically, I'm from a small town called Fort Payne, Alabama. It's 3 hours north of here. I really did not know anyone else at Auburn when I came. And I was just really eager to go ahead and start forming new relationships and kind of start forming this idea of what I thought my community here at Auburn would be like. And so what I loved so much about Alpha Gam is that they really took a chance on me because they didn't really know me either. But I felt that they believed in me and saw that I could do great things at Auburn. And that was the energy I really wanted to surround myself with. And I found that here at Alpha Gam, and it's been such a blessing.
When you just started, did you imagine yourself being the president?
Absolutely not. No way did I ever think being here, in my senior year would I be. So I have probably a month left in my term, but I never thought that would be president. Honestly, I was just happy going through recruitment, all I wanted was just to be in a sorority, just to like have friends. Really, I guess just to have friends. That was really all I wanted. And just being able to serve Alpha Gam the way that I have has just been such a blessing.
Sounds wonderful. Talking about your last month in your term as president, I want to ask you, what is Alpha Gamma Delta? What do you guys do? What are some of the things that you do around the community? I know y'all do a lot. So just tell me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, our philanthropy is actually fighting hunger, full plates, hearts, and minds. And so just advocating for hunger awareness in our community. We actually have, and it's actually Hunger Awareness Week. And so this following Sunday, we have our philanthropy event. It's usually called Wing Jam. And so what we would do is we would have a Battle of the Bands competition while serving meals to those who bought tickets. But since, with COVID, things are looking a little bit different. We're actually doing a drive-through meal distribution in the Coliseum parking lot this weekend. And so that's something that's really exciting. And Alpha Gam, we have over 15 organization presidents, as well as we're involved in over 130 organizations on campus. And so we're a very involved, active chapter. We really believe in the Auburn community. And also, I have to brag on them. They do value their academics more than anyone I've ever seen. We've been number one in grades all for Panhellenic as well as all over Greek life for many, many years. And last year, we actually had the honor of all pledge classes being number one in grades for their group for Panhellenic. And so those are just a few of the things that we're doing here at Auburn.
That sounds wonderful. And I like how you spoke about academics because sometimes people think that because you're so active on campus, it might be super hard. Not that it isn't, but
Right.
it's sometimes they feel like it's rather impossible to
Mm-hmm.
maintain high grades and be active on campus, whether as a
Mm-hmm.
student athlete or as a president of Alpha Gamma
Yeah.
Delta, and like you. What is a day in the life of Colin is like right now?
So a day in the life is I don't have class on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I only have class on Tuesday, Thursday. So on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm usually having breakfast with someone or enjoying a morning with my roommates or just watching the news, having some coffee, breakfast. And then during the day, that's when I love to do my to-do list on my planner. And I've recently started reading more, and then just enjoying any time I can. That was one of my biggest goals being president, was that I wanted to meet with all of the new members. And we have 81 new members right now. And so honestly, probably up until this week, I usually on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm with them in some entity, whether that's breakfast, lunch, going on a walk or something. And so I really wanted to get to know them, especially since recruitment and most of our programming has been virtual this year. I really wanted to put a name with a face by being with them. Um, so yeah, that's about my Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And my Tuesday, Thursdays, I have class pretty much all day. And then I'm also on top of Alpha Gamma, I'm also War Eagle Girl. And so our organization, War Eagle Girls and Plainsmen, or also known as WEGP, things have been a little bit different this year, but we're getting to still have in-person meetings, which has been nice to just see everyone. Even with masks on, it's still nice to see people. But yeah, that's about a long story short of my days.
Sounds good. My final question to you. I have so many questions. I can't believe this interview is going so fast. I want to ask you, if looking back at the 4 years you've been here, if you could go back to the start of your first day at Auburn, would you change anything? And if you change anything, what would that be?
hmm I think if I had to change anything, it would be to not stress as much in the little things, and just enjoy the time, enjoy the season that you're in, enjoy the people that you're around, and just love people as best as we can, just because you never know where you're going to be the next year. You don't know who will be there with you. And so looking back, I wouldn't change anything, honestly, because I think everything that's happened has happened for a reason. And so I I'm pretty The only thing that I would go back and tell myself is just to love others well and just to enjoy the season that you're in, because these 4 years go by so fast.
I totally agree with you. Well, not agree. I would see why you say that. But Colin, I really enjoyed this interview.
Yeah,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much for being here. This is You're Watching Tigers Talk. Please don't go anywhere. Tigers Talk will be right back. Welcome back to the premiere of Tigers Talk. I just sat down with Colin Davis and had a wonderful interview. Thank you very much, Colin Davis, for that opportunity to sit down and talk with you. Now we're going to get into our Say What segment, where you, our viewers, get to be a part of the show.
Our question for this week was, do you prefer Zoom classes or face-to-face, and why?
And our first response was from @HeSunshine on Twitter, and she said face-to-face class for sure. I feel like online classes lack the ability for me to practice self-discipline, so I get sidetracked and behind easier. When I see professors and peers in real life, it sets a rigid schedule for me, and I know more on what to expect out of myself. I totally agree with her. What do you think?
I totally agree. I think it's so easy to get sidetracked on Zoom, and especially like I have a couple of friends that have a Mac computer, so they get their messages on their computer, and without really thinking about it and not really wanting to, you know, you have to answer a text or
No,
you get
you don't
distracted.
have to.
I mean, you don't have to, but it's like right there. So
Yeah.
I totally understand that it's
Yeah.
easy to get sidetracked for sure.
I totally believe that, because when you're in class, it's like a different atmosphere, the atmosphere for work. But when you're at home, you're cooking, making breakfast, making breakfast right before class starts.
Yeah.
Or have you ever made breakfast during class?
I've made lunch,
Oh,
but
you
not
made
breakfast.
lunch. What did you make?
I made a sandwich.
Sounds fun. Okay.
Our second response comes from @Kira_MCC on Instagram. She says, Zoom classes feel optional, but they so aren't. So probably in class, unfortunately. Honestly, I agree, Christopher. I really miss my in-person classes.
You know, she made a real good point, because these online classes, these Zoom classes feel optional. I feel like, you know, there are many times when I wake up and I'm like, should I really go? Do I really need to get on here? But then, you know, I remember that you're in my class and you'll get on me for that.
I will. I'll text you. I'll be like, Christopher, where you at?
Our next response comes from @BoldenNutBanks on Twitter, and she says, definitely face-to-face. As someone who is in a lot of discussion-based classes, it can be difficult to have a worthwhile discussion over Zoom, and sometimes professors will give up more work since class is online and are trying to make up for what is missing from the face-to-face class. That is so true.
Yes.
I felt like when we went online, professors just say, hey, they're home, let's give them all the homework we can give them.
No, yeah. And I mean, it was already a stressful time. So I think everyone was just trying to make up for the time that we didn't have in person, exactly like she said. But at the same time, it's a lot of work. So I think this semester and last, I've had way more work than I have in other semesters for sure.
Or is it that I take up a lot of my time with Netflix and then, you know,
Christopher, that may be a question for you to ask yourself later.
All right, let's go to the next comment.
And our last comment comes from @CatherineWright15 on Instagram, and she says, Hi Flex. Face-to-face classes help me learn, but having the option of zooming in helps. And again, I agree. I think being able to zoom into a class, sometimes it helps you out when you're running late or you had an in-person one earlier and there's no way you're gonna make it to your apartment or your dorm to sit down at your computer. You can zoom in on your phone, so it is convenient, I think.
I totally agree.
Sadly, we have come to the end of the show. Can you believe that, Samantha?
I can't believe it, Christopher, but you know what? I think it was a really good show, and I hope we can do this again.
Totally. I don't want to sound cliche, but they always say all good things must come to an end. This is our end.
Yeah, this is it. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Follow us on Instagram @AU Tigers Talk Show and on Twitter @AU Tigers Talk.
Have a good night.
See ya.